I'm Sonia and I help people take their power back. If you're interested in working with me and want me to call you on your BS, coaching information is in the description below. Today, I want to talk about choosing how you are going to view things, how you are going to think about them, choosing your affirmations, if you want to look at it that way, what you're going to affirm, how you are going to think, making the choice that you are going to get what you want and then sticking to it, regardless of what happens in front of your face. If you've been following me recently, I did a video, I don't even remember when at this point. Time is not real and I can't keep track of it anymore. But my dog Jax hurt his back and lost his ability to walk for a couple days and then got it back. This is not the first time that Jax's back has gone out. In 2019, he first threw his back out. I have told this story, but I thought he had bloat. I did not think it could be a back problem. He was acting really weird. We got home from work and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Something's not right. Like, are you okay? And I, having groomed dogs for 11 and a half years, at that point, not quite that, but I'd been grooming dogs forever. I had taken so many classes on dogs and read so many books that I knew something was wrong and I knew the signs of bloat. And I'm like, I think he has bloat, which is when their stomach fills with gas and folds over itself. So it's emergency surgery, life or death situation on a Saturday night after work at like 6 o'clock. We're going to the emergency vet to possibly have surgery for bloat. So called the ER. And we're like, hey, this is the situation. They're like, bring him in. We brought him in. They're like, awesome. We're going to drug him. We're going to do an x-ray just to make sure that's what it is. And then we'll basically just have to give him the anesthesia and we'll be ready to go if that's what it is. It turns out that it was not bloat, but his back. So they sent us home with some painkillers and anti-inflammatory. And they were like, if he starts to not be able to use his back legs, he may need more than what we gave you now. So we took him home. The next day, he started to not be able to use his legs as well. And by that afternoon, he had lost the ability to walk. So I found there was a specialty vet close to me that specializes in neurology and all this stuff. And they were like, they also do ER, they have an ER too. So they're like, bring him in. We'll check him out. It was a Sunday. And he, at like 5 o'clock at night. And so we bring him to the emergency vet. And they're like, we need to do an MRI, but he has somewhere in his spine, something is pushing on his spinal cord. And that is why he can't walk. Now, what that really looks like without an MRI, we don't know. So the next day they did an MRI. They were assuming he would probably need back surgery. So, and they're like, time is of the essence because the longer that there's pressure on his spine, the more damage it'll do. So they did the MRI and figured out that he has a degenerative back disease, I don't know, where his spine is like collapsing on itself faster than it should. And they're like, there's a problem here and that's what it is. The surgery is probably the best option, but you know, whatever you want to do. So at that point they were talking about you could try the pills, just putting him on anti-inflammatory and painkillers. It may work, it may not. For this, the surgery is going to be your best bet, but it may not work even with the surgery. He may or may not walk again. It's hard to tell. At that point in my life, I knew about manifesting, but I didn't understand it at all. At all. Like at all. And I was a fucking mess. I was like, I am going to lose my dog, aren't I? Like, that was my mentality. I was fucking like, holy fucking shit. We did the surgery and had a long recovery of him recovering from back surgery. So you can imagine. And he wasn't able to walk, and like getting his legs back and taking him to physical therapy and like all of this shit. But he got his legs back and was happy, healthy, all the things. Then in 2021, he hurt his back again. And this time I wasn't with him. He was, my mom, my parents and my brother were taking care of him for me because I was doing other, I wasn't able to be with him because I was house sitting for some people that I couldn't bring him with me. So they were taking care of him, and I'm like, I'm not doing another surgery. Like, it's not fair to him to go through that again. Like, the pills have to work. So we did the pills and they worked. But again, it was a few months of him not having his legs. He lost them a second time, and the pills brought him back. And it's like, okay, again, got through that, was healthy. At that point, I was in my law of attraction days, and I had no idea how to actually manifest, but I was focused on him being okay. Not like I was this time, but it was different than the first time that I went through all of that. So when it happened this time, I knew exactly what it was. He woke up and was panting, and I'm like, something isn't right. What is going on with you? And I felt his stomach, because it gets really tight when his back hurts. And I'm like, your back is bugging you, isn't it, sir? So I ended up taking him to the vet the next day. They gave him some painkillers, some anti-inflammatory, because I'm like, I know what it is, and I'm not doing surgery on him. Like, this is going to work. It's going to work. So as soon as I noticed that his back was bothering him, in my head, Jax can walk, he's fine, everything's good, he's healthy, focusing on the outcome that I wanted. And here is where I get to, you make the decision and you choose. I tell you all of that to have you understand, like, there is a history with this. The thing I left out was that, like they said with the surgery, like, it may not work. The pills may not work. And when dogs are paralyzed from the waist down, they can't express their bladder by themselves. So it is a massive undertaking to take on a paralyzed dog, which is what I was faced with for the third time in my life, in his life. When I had we did the back surgery, he was like 4 years old, 5 years old. I'm like, he's a fucking baby. It's not like, of course, like, let's do the surgery. But now he just turned 10. Lots of circumstances. He's 10 years old. This is the third time his back has gone out. With the, from the surgery stuff, they're like, he had 3 discs at that point that were issues. And they're like, the second time his back went out, they're like, if it's the same disc we already did surgery on, if we do the MRI and that's what it is, we can't do surgery again because the chances of it helping are next to nothing. So all of this shit, I could have gone down the fucking rabbit hole of, oh my God, Jax isn't going to walk. I'm not going to do the surgery. He's so much older now. What's the chance that 3 times he would get his legs back? I could have went down that rabbit hole, but I refused. I made the fucking decision. No, he's fine. He's fine. He's not even gonna lose his legs. He's fine. He just threw his back out. He's sore. He'll be fine. And I stuck with that decision, even though the 3D showed me different. So it was Sunday night that he was sore. Took him Monday. By Tuesday, legs were starting to go. By Wednesday, legs were gone. I noticed something weird about the anti-inflammatory. I'm like, I don't recognize this prescription name. Like, it doesn't ring a bell, having gone through this before. The other one did. I was like, I remember that one, but this one didn't. So I decided to call my vet, because I couldn't get him into my vet, and was like, hey, can you see him? They were like, yeah, we can bring him in Thursday night. Okay. They were like, yeah, this anti-inflammatory does not have steroids in it, which was fine for where he was, but now that he's progressed, he needs to have steroids in his anti-inflammatory. That's his best chance of getting his legs back. But you understand that it may not work. And depending on how you feel about having him and how comfortable you are with him, and depending on how it all goes, it'll be a few weeks, but you may have to make a really hard decision. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Just give me the fucking drugs and we're getting out of here. So we couldn't just switch him from the non-steroid to the steroid, because he's like, that was like, that could give him a stomach ulcer. So they gave us some extra stronger pain medicine to bridge the gap of the 3 days. Started that Thursday night. No anti-inflammatory, which is what he needs to bring down the swelling that is causing him to be paralyzed. Stuck with my story of he's good. Everything's good. And Friday morning started to have more mobility feeling in his leg, and it was like it was just a little over 12 hours after we had gone to the vet that he was walking again. And I know it was because of my mindset. I chose that experience, and that's what I got. He's literally walking around, moving shit around, being a maniac. Like, you would never know he hurt his back and couldn't walk a couple weeks ago. Because in the past, it took... My brother and I even had the conversation. It's like, yeah, it's going to be 2-3 weeks before we're even going to know if he can walk. And I dropped it at that point. And I focused on, in my imagination, whenever I'd start to wonder and worry and like, what if? No, Jax is healed. He's walking. Imagining him running around in the yard and barking. He's already fulfilled that manifestation. All because I made the decision he would be healthy, and I returned to it instead of going down the other rabbit hole, following the other breadcrumbs. Now, was I perfect at it? No. I was human. I was shocked at how easy it was. Excuse me. I was shocked at how easy it was for me to stay in that state, honestly. But it did come to a point where I got overwhelmed because he was being really cranky. He was really in pain. He didn't want me picking him up and like bringing him up and down the stairs. He didn't want me really touching him. And I didn't know what I was going to do with him if he's like I'm like, I have to like deal with you and you're, not liking this. And I got overwhelmed and I lost my shit for a little bit. And that was right when I called my friend Kimberly, and she helped talk me through it. And that lasted about an hour. Kimberly gave me some ideas of stuff to work on in my energy to help me and to help him. And I went back to affirming. Even in that time, I knew like in my head that he was going to be okay, but it did not feel like it. I did get overwhelmed. I did have moments where I didn't believe and didn't trust it, but I brought myself back, and now he's over there whining and is cranky. He wants attention. He's like, Mom, stop recording fucking videos. But I brought my attention back to where I wanted it to be and did not allow myself to go down the rabbit hole that old me would have been down. And I'm not even going to go there, but you see what I mean. It's a choice. Choosing what you want, deciding it's already yours, and returning back to that state, that decision, that thought process. Using affirmations, using visuals, whatever. But not allowing yourself, Jackson, come here. Come here. Not allowing yourself to doubt and question and bitch, moan, and complain about things that you no longer want to be experiencing. Thank you so much for watching. Love and light.